crazy people on paternity court.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it like this. You was a deadbeat. You know that baby is yours. He looked just like y'all. You should step up whether or not. If you wanted this, why wait till he 13 months?
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man. Like, this whole beef thing, I can't co-parent like that. Either we gonna co-parent the right way or it's just not gonna happen.
After endless arguments with Mr. Williams, Miss Jackson decided it was time to bring this disgusting man to court so Judge Lauren could set him straight. Miss Jackson's tired of Mr. Williams not accepting responsibility for their daughter, Armani.
Mr. Williams knows this baby is his. He's been running for 9 months now.
So you say he's done nothing for the baby?
Nothing.
You haven't done anything, Mr. Williams?
No, Your Honor. This is not my baby. She knows she's sleeping around with other men, and she's trying to put a baby on me that's not mine.
In relationships like this, there's something always crazy happening. And here, it's when Mr. Williams reveals how Miss Jackson has a bad habit of sleeping with men whose names she doesn't even remember. But Miss Jackson has a different story to tell.
He contacted me on Facebook and asked me what was I doing. I told him I was just chilling. He said he was in the area. I told him to come through. So I got in the car with him, we went to talking, and one thing led to another. We had sex.
Just like that?
Just like that.
When Judge Lauren asks Mr. Williams if he had unprotected sex with this woman, he says everyone else did too. That's a crazy thing to say when you've got a child on your hands. But instead of claiming responsibility, guess what this dude does?
She been blowing my phone up. Blowing my phone off through the Facebook app because she never had my phone number. So,
Your Honor, after the fact of me telling him that my cycle was late, I contacted him again when I found out that I was actually pregnant. He blocked me on Facebook.
So what does Mr. Williams have to say about that? Once he blocked the poor woman on all social media, she had no choice but to make fake pages to contact him. After all, a pregnancy is no joking matter. But Mr. Williams ends up saying she was disrespecting his boundaries. This man sure has some guts.
the baby ain't mature yet, and she talking about child support. I'm like, child support? And you just said you were pregnant? Yeah, she was targeting me, reason being, she stated that she had sex with another dude right the next day. Once she told me that, I said, why are you chasing me down about...
How did you find out she had sex with another man?
She told me. She told me.
Guess there's a lot of stuff that Miss Jackson's been hiding too. Did she think Judge Lauren wouldn't find out about her ridiculous affairs? She slept with another man right after she slept with Mr. Williams. And according to a little math, it's possible Armani's father could be either man.
Why is it you're choosing Mr. Williams?
Because this man hasn't gotten anyone pregnant and doesn't have any kids.
We have to go by the facts. And the fact is, if it has not been proven that the other man is unable to father children, then you can't say for certain that it is Mr. Williams' baby.
Now, even Judge Lauren is confused as it's revealed that while Miss Jackson thinks Mr. Williams is the father, she's been asking the other man for help. Meanwhile, it's Mr. Williams who has to pay child support. Even the entire audience goes into shock with this new crazy moment between the couple.
See, too often men come in this courtroom saying, well, why she named me? It's not that they are not equally involved in the situation, but as the woman, you know, if you had sex with more than one man in a window of conception, you have at least the moral obligation to be truthful with the child support office about that.
Judge Lauren has to end all the craziness, so she warns Miss Jackson about landing herself in multiple paternity issues. While Mr. Williams kept ignoring Miss Jackson, he was busy celebrating a baby shower with another woman. That's not fair to poor Armani, so Jerome should really bring out the results.
Mr. Williams, you are the father.
I told you.
You said you don't mind no child support, so we're
don't,
not
well,
gonna have any problems.
It won't have no problems.
Good.
I apologize for everything dealing with the situation at hand. I'll make sure I take my responsibility as a man and take care of money.
37 years ago, when Christine was born, Mr. Miles stubbornly refused to be her father. Now, after a whole lifetime, he's gone crazy. He's going to prove that he's Christine's real father. But the real question is, will Christine accept him?
You don't believe Mr. Miles is your biological father?
I do not.
Explain.
I don't believe you're my father. My mom says you are not my father. You've been absent for 37 years. Why? Why now?
Your mom said that I was your father. Why she changed her story, I have no idea.
Back when Christine was born, her mother told Mr. Miles he was the father, but he wasn't ready to accept the responsibility. Now he's prepared, but the mother's changed her narrative. She's told Christine this man's claims are complete nonsense. Has she brainwashed her daughter?
When she found out she was pregnant, she never called you to say, I'm pregnant.
No, Judge, the only time I find out is when I came back. See, I left and I went to Florida, and then I came back, and when I came back, I got summons to go to court about being a father of a child that I had no idea.
Judge Lauren dives into the history of Mr. Miles' relationship with Christine's mother. He reveals how he was doing a lot of insane things at 17, and he dated the woman for 2 months. He thought they were committed to each other until he reveals she was sleeping around with all the men in town.
How did you find out she was also sleeping with
They
him?
told me, yeah, we were also sleeping with her at the time, which really upset me because I just had no idea that she was doing that.
Did your mother ever tell you anything about the relationship with Mr. Miles?
And she just kept on saying, he's not your father. I don't know why he's doing this now after 37 years.
For Christine, it's ridiculous that it took Mr. Miles 37 years to realize his mistake. She's the one who had to grow up without a father, and when her mother left, she ended up in foster care. Whereas for Mr. Miles, his biggest concern was all the child support he owed.
In 1992, we filed our taxes. Taxes came back, and there's a letter. You owe like $28,000 in back child support. And that just shocked me. Like I said, I just didn't have a clue that was even there.
And you didn't try to find out then?
I did. Back then, there was no internet, and all I had was my family, so I had no way of getting contact to anybody except through my family.
So, did Mr. Miles and Christine finally meet? Well, when she saw the child support checks, her grandparents tried to mediate. They asked Mr. Miles over to their house and set up a meeting with Christine. They spent time together, but the moment of happiness was brief and turned into something crazy again.
Your experience, Miss Turner, was I arrive in this place, this man takes me, I spend time with him and his wife, he says he's my father, they drop me back off at home, and I never hear from him again.
That's right.
I didn't hear anything.
So why did you just disappear?
I did not.
You can't try harder? If
I
that
did
was
that-
my daughter, I would have tried.
After all that drama of trying to be a responsible father, what was Mr. Miles' excuse for walking away from Christine after uniting? He's got another unbelievable justification, and this time it's that he couldn't afford to visit Christine when he wasn't even sure if she was his daughter. Why didn't he get a paternity test back then?
It was like almost $1,000 to get a paternity test back then. I definitely didn't have that. Well, didn't know what
But
was
what
going on.
about just a telephone call? You didn't have a telephone
Didn't
number?
have a number. All we had was the grandparents.
Right, never got an answer from them. That's what I'm saying. It's like she just dropped off the face of the earth.
Despite all the crazy allegations, Mr. Miles still wants to step up as the father. If the results come back positive, for Christine, she just wants some closure in a life full of roller coaster moments. So, should Jerome finally bring out the envelope to announce the results?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Miles, you are not the father.
We've had a connection ever since the day that I met her mom because she was born and her mama said I was the father.
Mr. Calhoun was foolish when he fell into Miss Prout's trap that he was the father of her daughter, Amaya. But once he accepted responsibility as father, he discovered how she had been cheating on him, and now he's got a lot of crazy doubts in his head.
Mr. Calhoun, you say Miss Prout is pinning this child on you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Me and Miss Prout have been friends for a while, but when I seen that she wanted to make a relationship out of things, I cut her off, and I just kind of pushed away from her.
How did you cut her off?
I stopped calling, stopped answering her calls and texts, pretty much ignored her existence.
When Miss Prout realized that Mr. Calhoun just wanted sex, she decided to keep her feelings out of the relationship. According to them, they called it a situationship, where they just messed with each other. But sex has consequences, and Miss Prout ended up pregnant. What did she do then?
Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test. The next day, I told him and showed him the test, but we were both in disbelief.
That's not true, Your Honor.
We were both in disbelief, Your Honor, that I was pregnant. He said he didn't believe me, but he wanted a DNA test. So somewhere in there, you believed that I was pregnant because you wanted a DNA test.
When the results came positive, Mr. Calhoun got worried that Miss Prout was just trying to trap him into a scheme. How crazy is that? When she called him and told him she had some magical fertility medicine and that she got what she had wanted, Mr. Calhoun felt more scared than ever.
She had took
I'm
fertility medicine to get pregnant by me.
I did not take any fertility pills once I found out I was pregnant. Let me tell you how
Now, who's
crazy.
got it?
I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms. They said I was pregnant. I'm still in disbelief. This is by September, and I conceived between July 21st and July 25th.
But even after Ms. Prout submits her conception timeline as evidence, Mr. Calhoun reveals the crazy truth. She had been sleeping with another dude during that time as well. When Judge Lauren sees Ms. Prout smiling at this fact, she confronts her to admit the truth to the entire court.
I was having sex with someone, but it was 2 weeks prior I had stopped messing with somebody else because I knew I was going to run into him at the parties. At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support. Period. Point. That's it.
It has no. It
It
has
been back
no
and
deal with
forth.
child support,
One
Your Honor.
minute I'm the daddy, I'm happy, whoop-de-whoop, blam. Then the next minute I'm not the daddy when you get hit with them papers.
So Ms. Prout now has a huge, crazy reason as to why Mr. Calhoun is trying to rid himself of the paternity. It's because he doesn't want to pay child support. When the baby was born, Ms. Prout manipulated Mr. Calhoun into coming down there and forced him to sign the paperwork.
So we're in there by ourselves. I told her I didn't want to sign without a DNA test. So she gets to, basically making me feel like a bad guy. Like, you know you had unprotected sex with me. You know this your daughter. I even look at the papers and see, she didn't even have my last name as the daughter's last name. I had to tell her, if this is my daughter, you want me to sign, put my name on there.
But then, right after that, when Mr. Calhoun went grocery shopping, 2 men came up to him and confessed that Ms. Prout's baby is theirs. All of these things started to make Mr. Calhoun have serious doubts. So, only the results can reveal the truth once and for all, now.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Wow.
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man,
All right, we don't have to co-parent. I would like full custody of you.
oh no.
Sometimes when a man gets you pregnant and refuses to admit, you end up asking your mother to help with the case. In today's list of completely crazy things on paternity court, Ms. Hillman is accusing Mr. ONeal of having unprotected sex with her, and then not stepping up as a father for baby DeMarcus.
We don't do nothing for him. They don't have no relationship together. When I hold him, Your Honor, and my baby go to reach for him, he ignore him.
Does he provide for the baby financially?
No, he don't do nothing. My mom and the baby's godmother is the one that actually helps me with everything. And that's not right. That's not right on my son, because he didn't ask to be here.
But why does Mr. ONeal refuse to take care of the poor boy? Well, it turns out he's been insanely involved in paternity fraud before, and there's no way he's letting another woman make a fool of him 2 times in a row. Why does he have so many doubts?
So the second night, me, him, and the same 2 mutual friends, we got together, we chilled. That's when, I conceived DeMarcus.
So it was the second night.
Yeah, it
I like
was.
woman leave make me wait about 2-3 weeks.
Don't sit
Oh.
Don't sit here and try to
I want a woman that
the
play
first
ball
night
again.
me and you met, you sat in our car and you begged. Literally, you begged for it. Don't try it.
At first, Mr. ONeal was begging Miss Hillman to be his girlfriend, and when she finally said yes, he ended up acting all crazy. That's when he reveals the most insane confession ever. He says Miss Hillman isn't all innocent because she was doing the deed with other men.
Mr. ONeal, do you have any reason to believe she was still having sex with her ex?
I think he stayed the night when I left.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it like this. You was a deadbeat. You know that baby is yours. He looked just like y'all. You should step up whether or not. If you wanted this, why wait till he 13 months? You should have did it in the beginning.
Mr. ONeal's doubts began the night he caught Miss Hillman doing suspicious things with her ex on her mother's porch. At first, Mr. ONeal didn't want to believe what he saw, but slowly, other crazy things started to come into the picture, and he realized something was wrong.
Was she pregnant or was DeMarcus born when this happened?
He was already born.
So at that time, you were accepting him as your child? You told the man yes.
At the time, until he got a little older.
And then when he got older, what happened?
He started not looking like me.
While Mr. ONeal was busy claiming Miss Hillman was sleeping with other men, it turns out that he was having affairs with multiple women in town. It's becoming really hard to see which one of these 2 is less crazy. So let's just jump to the results.
Mr. ONeal, you are the father.
I see him?
You did all that.
Can I see him?
Miss Hillman, would it be
Come on,
okay
what?
if Mr. ONeal saw his son?
That's fine.
I'm happy.
You look happy.